All ready to leave?
No.
Well, good, because I'm not either. Mr. Dave, would you happen to have a black tie I could borrow?
Why does your tie have to be black?
Because that's the color you're supposed to wear to a funeral, George.
See that Weezy, they got you believing it too.
They? Who's they?
The honkies that run this country, that's who. How come everything sad or bad is black?
What?
Yeah, that's right. Blackmail, blacklist, blackball. Nothing black is ever worth anything.
Black Jack was worth $30 when I beat you last night.
George, just because things are called black doesn't mean they're really black.
Oh, hi everyone.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean.
There's people out there who hear certain things, you know what I'm saying, be like, Brother Polight said he disagreed with the information or the affirmation because of this, but he didn't say it. And then we'll have a video up in the next 5 minutes after this go up, and they'll be attacking my father. And when they attack my father, then that's why he keep and Sinetta keep trying to stress to me as an elder to me. He keeps saying, calm down, Prince. What people don't understand is when you're talking about my father, you ain't talking about my spiritual father, you're talking about my dad. I know my dad was subjected to have to finish the raising of me over the phone or through letters because of things that other people are saying. But I really just want you as Brother Polight to clarify and let it be known that you don't have to explain your question. We can talk down a later date, but we, clarify that it doesn't have anything to do with charges or anything like that, so the people won't have nothing to attack our father with.
Well, I'll tell you this. My discipline doesn't allow me to present certain ideas that I have because I teach my brother's order. The same order that I was educated in. So my discipline wouldn't permit it. Alright? And it's simple questions. It's nothing intense. As far as the case is concerned, I do not know. I believe Dr. York is innocent. I have tremendous reason to believe that he's innocent. However, I do not know. I never slept in his bed. You feel what I'm saying? There's 2 sides or 3 sides to the story. His side, and then there's the truth. So all I could do as an observer is weigh in on the information. And I can clearly see the conspiracy. I can prove the conspiracy to bring the man down. But even in light of a conspiracy being used to bring the man down, even amidst of the propaganda promulgated throughout the media to infiltrate our consciousness, there still may be reason to believe that he may have done it. So as a rational being, I decided, since I have never been in that man's bed, to watch what he does day in and day out, and the nature of the charges and the allegations, I still hold him dear in my heart as my father and my master teacher. I don't turn my back on him. Unfortunately, I just do not know if he did or he didn't. And it's my right to say, I simply don't know. But even with all the reasons that I have to believe that he didn't molest those children, it still stands to reason that he could have. Go ahead and ask them that. Tell me what they say, and if you don't respond to me, I'll assume you know more than me, and I'm done. So I was on the mission. One of the missions almost got my ass killed. You know what I'm saying? Talking to these Muslims. The joint on Nostrand Avenue, King. He sent me over there. You know who's over there? You feel me? Right there on Fulton.
Yeah. Oh, you mean on Bedford and Fulton?
Yeah. Siraj joint. Sent me over there to ask questions. I didn't even know the history. I didn't know the Ansar rebuttal book and all that other stuff, the history behind that at that time. You feel me? I went over there, knew I be, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, the master teacher said this. Bilal, yeah, you already know. That's a fact. So I went over there, I asked the questions, and he was grooming me. He was training me. You see the letters right in my book, right? And sometimes he'd tell me, they'll say this. And when they say that, say this. You feel me? And he was getting me at the Masonic Lodge. I had to go to Prince Hall. I had to do the same thing. But, you know, when he raised me up in that situation, I had to go to Prince Hall. I had to go to meetings and fellowship and connect. You feel me? When we was dealing with Liberia, we had to connect with Miss Excellency, Her Excellency, her Liberia. You feel me? I had to give her gifts, Masonic gifts at that. You feel what I'm saying? I was the one that had to purchase them, find them, get them at my discretion, make sure it's not offensive, and send it over. So dealing with those scenarios, I've been edified tremendously by it. I've grown as a man in leadership by it. And in fact, one of the worst things that's taking place in our community is the fact that the brothers and sisters in the conscious community, unfortunately, and abroad have been bastardized. They don't know what it's like to be under somebody, to follow protocol, to follow the edict, or to follow the mandate of another man or another woman. You understand what I'm saying? And in doing, and in that lack of that kind of leadership in someone's life bastardizes the leadership in the sense that they don't have no chill button. They don't have a, you know, young brother, you're going too far. You know what? Silence. I've been silenced before. When Obama first got put into administration, Doc sent a letter to me and said, don't speak on it for the first 6 months. The Black Panthers offered me an invite to have a dialogue about Obama. And, you know, I'm itchy. I want to talk because I just got rose up in stature. I'm leading the lodge. I'm doing my damn thing. But I had to turn down every opportunity to speak about it because Master told me don't speak on it at all until I tell you can. One time it was an indefinite time. Next time it was 6 months. Don't ask me again, son. So I just fell back. Didn't ask. But this is what you learn. It's protocol. You feel me? You learn this. And you can't really get that from nowhere. You can't. It's not authenticated unless you actually get it from somewhere. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you can't give yourself a father. You either have one present in your life or you don't, and you miss it forever. And hopefully people can fill in the voice the best way that they can. So, being under the master teacher, Dr. York has been a blessing in my life. And irrespective to people feeling whatever they feel about that black man, he has contributed to my life in ways that I can never revoke his spirit consciousness and his influence in my life and my family. This is a man that when I had named my daughter, he told me move that name out of there and rename her. I said, hey, this is what my wife and I is going to name our daughter. It was Anissa. You feel me? And he's like, get that out of here. Your daughter's name is this. But you know why I took it? Because this is a man that foretold me that I was going to have a child before I had a child with a dark woman with an afro. And this is why my wife had a perm and I thought we was breaking up. I didn't even tell my wife that the master teacher just told me on the phone that I'm going to have a child next year by a dark-skinned woman with a big afro. The last thing on my mind was Aminette. Because she was still kind of wild. We was conscious and we was working in the right direction. But she was wilding. And I'm like, man, I don't know how this going to work because I'm conscious now. I'm on the right path. I don't know if she's going to take this walk with me on this short path. But this is a man who plotted out the year that my child was going to be born. And even the month. That's a fact. It's a true story. I even put the letter in my book to show people this is when he said I was going to have my daughter, because he followed up subsequently and wrote it. You feel what I'm saying? This is a man when he told me, when I told him I had a name for my daughter, he told me, no, name your daughter Ma'at Tumray. That's what it was. As a grown man who's having a child, I declined it from my opportunity to name my own child and took on the blessing of this man telling me, revoke the name I came with, give that child your name. And every wife had to change their name. This is your name now. And all my children have been named by Dr. York. All my children. Every single child. And the one wife that didn't get a letter where her name changed was because it's his daughter. So he named her too.
Which daughter is it?
You feel what I'm saying?
Which daughter?
I'm trying to protect her identity. You feel what I'm saying? You got a little drama with her too. But I'm going to tell you after this. So he named her too. Sudanese. Okay, there you go. So, yeah, that's what it was. You feel me? So, of course, he named her, obviously. And so I've been on a very, very deep and profound path with Doc. And the story don't stop. I got my swag. He got his swag. And there's a great deal of love there. But I've learned a lot. So as far as debates are concerned, it's something that I've adopted from being taught and guided by the master teacher, because I was being groomed for that opportunity before I could even see it coming. So that's what I love about that black man. And irrespective to whatever people say he did or he did not do, you got to understand that this is the man who's responsible for me coming out of my gang culture. I can't revoke that for nobody, no matter how much you hate him. I can't deny the fact he changed my life. That's a personal effect that he's had on my life. He made me a better man. And I also got to give love to my other mentor, Imam Obaba Oyo, from the African Islamic Mission, Dr. York's older brother. And in many ways, he was my economic teacher. And Doc was my spiritual master. Sometimes they swap. You feel what I'm saying? But those two people are very dear to me in my heart. Imam Obaba Oyo and, of course, Dr. York. Those are the two homies. They raised me a great deal. Taught me a lot about polygyny. Oba taught me a lot of the economic functionalities of polygyny. And, of course, Dr. York taught me a lot of the spiritual aspects, domestic aspects of polygyny. And I coupled with the two of them taught me and created my own model that works for 2016 with a brother Polight from Brownsville, Brooklyn.
All right, let's move on to the brother Prince York. You, brother Polight, being a powerful debater. People scared to even want to sit with you now. And see, that's how you gain your respect. They rather look past you. I want Shaka. I want Reggie. They don't really call you no more. At first, they used to run to you. They don't call you no more. They want Shaka and Reggie and other people now. Now let's move on to our brother Prince. Prince is saying, I'm on this path of uniting. I want to unite my people. I don't know if he know that we've been on that path a long time ago. We done tried that. They gonna make you want to have to tear their ass up. You know what I'm saying? So we done tried. I'm gonna see what Prince goal and method is of getting us to come to unite. I would like to hear it, Prince. You not with the debates. Talk to us. Tell us why and what's your reason for it.
Well, first thing, the moment you say the word master teacher, you just admitted that my father's a teacher, and you put yourself now taking direction. I said the moment you admit that the name of the position of my father is a master teacher, then you just sat yourself in the place as a student. And when you sat yourself in the place as a student, you admitted to taking discipline, taking heed, taking direction, and taking all these different paths in which he prepared us to be master student teachers out here in this world today. But one thing about that people must understand is the fact when you're coming at a multiversity. See, Nuwapu is a multiversity. When you're coming out of multiversity, we always refer to my father, as this brother right here from the Ansar days may recall, we refer to my father as the man of the what? The hour. And if you know anything about the hour and you know the breakdown about the hour, you know the hour is 60, not 30. And a lot of people like to make the acceptance that my father taught for 30 years, 1970 to 2000, and that was the end. But my father's still teaching all the way up to 2030, and he doesn't stop till he say he stopped. And he's well known for putting people in their place and putting people in different positions. So what he would do is he would always say that debating is a thing. This is what he says recently. He says debating is a construct that I created for the simple fact of getting everybody out of religion. after we come into the hereafter, into the year 2000 of this sun cycle, there's no need to do such a thing anyway. He says that there's no need to be debating or arguing with any brother or any sister, because what you do is you're resurrecting these religions, you're resurrecting these different things and giving them a platform to regrow and resurface after I, as I meaning him, after I already demolished them. So you have some people who says that they, you have some people who are, students of the master teacher, but not really students. Students of the master teacher that take heed to some things, but take heed to other things. And then you have other people who say, I'm a student of the master teacher, still a student of the master teacher, because the master teacher ain't stopped teaching. When the master teacher stopped teaching and give me a directive and put his finger on my nose and say, you are this, and this is what you will do, then that's when you make that move. And that's only because of the amount of discipline that we had throughout all our years, all 54 years of our community. You follow what I'm saying? I remember the good old days when my father used to debate all the time in the Hall of Knowledge. And he would take your head. I mean, like nowadays, stuff that people are saying now, a lot of elder brothers, I know a lot of brothers on 125th, they say certain comments, Ilion, they say risk, and they make fun of things because they know back in the day, if they would have said that to Pop Face, he would have ripped that shit up. How he would have ripped it up? He would say Ilion comes from the what? The seventh heaven. Ilion. Risk comes from Razak, the what? 17th attribute of Allah. 7 + 1 is 8. Risk is the 8th planet. You follow what I'm saying? In the 19th galaxy. And in the Quran, chapter what? 83 verse 19. There we go again. You go in the Quran, it's talking about that what? We were in Ilion is where the righteous or the Zodak is held. And when you saying Dr. Malachi Z York, the Z is Zodak, which means righteous. So these brothers out here, they saying stuff, but it's really, really, and like I said before, it's really corny and played out. Especially the elders like this here, who done heard all of this stuff before and watched it all get eaten up. So really people repeating stuff that Bilal Phillips and these corny cats were saying, but really all that stuff been dead. They repeating stuff. People say, well, Dr. York was born in Boston. That's not because of your research. That's because he put it in his book. He put his birth certificate in the book. Let's set the record straight. Am I right? He's the one who put his charter out of him becoming a successor of Sheikh Dawood. He did all this stuff. You're not exposing Dr. York. Dr. York put that information out himself, but you want to pass out what he built on. So me, I cannot rock with debates, because me in a debate, it would be no fun for the next team. The simple fact that I've walked all the schools and still walking with the master now, because the master says, don't follow me, walk with me. That's how he was able to raise certain scholars like Brother Polight, etc. But what we have to get into with these young brothers today is, what is the definition of a scholar? You follow what I'm saying? Recently I was on your show and I'm talking to young Pharaoh. I spent the whole conversation laughing because this dude couldn't even explain to me the origin of the languages of the extraterrestrials he said that he encountered himself. You know what I'm saying? And there's people commenting saying, yo, Prince got body. And I'm like, if you have the level of intelligence that you can't listen in and be able to see, this dude hasn't answered no questions. This dude just built up Egyptology, then tore it down, saying that Egyptology is a pure construct coming from all Greek. You follow what I'm saying? Coming from all Greek sources. He's naming, quoting all books that he never went and got. I'm showing books, showing references, everything. If your mind is that small, then your mind is that small. But I leave the small-minded alone. When I say unity, I'm talking about unification of the intellectual. The weak will die, and I have no problem with that. Those whose mind ain't there will die. They will stay here in America and they will die. Those who want to lead, those who have the information, the outformation, so they can get out of his formation and get their liberation, those are the people I want behind me. Those are people I want with me. Not even really behind me, with me. Because the only person I'm behind or under would be the master teacher. I can't position myself in no other position to be anything. How am I position myself in the presence of a man when we dealing with the presence of a God? You know what I'm saying? Anybody want to say Dr. York isn't a God? You challenge that. I got something for that too. I can go in every single biblical book and prove to you who he's a God. We can go into his birthday. 19 what? Come on, you know it. 1945. You go at 1945. 4 + 5 is 9. He's doing 135. 1 + 3 + 5 is 9. He had 54 assassination attempts. We can do this all day with you. I'll rain on your ass. So no one in the conscious community is ready for Prince York at all, because Prince York has been groomed personally my entire life by the Supreme Grand. Personally, because the reason why my father, some people say, well, Dr. York got so many kids. The reason why my father has so many kids is because not because he's raising successors, because I would never be the successor of Dr. York. We're dealing with a succession. A succession is the active taking place, sitting in a position. You follow what I'm saying? So there would never be a successor. Because I have a lot of people asking me that question: successors of Dr. York, this and this and this. Now, my personal opinion on where I fit, you know what I'm saying, who's who on planet Earth. My father always said, "You are what your name is." You know what I'm saying? So when you go into different brothers' names, y'all know him by different days. Every time I would hear him, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, they really convinced that I'm like 19 years old. People really convinced to that, and they don't know. It's just that the type of diet that this brother right here used to cook us. Get a shot of this man right here. The kind of diet. Tell them brothers what that Ansar diet was like: lentils and rice, wheat pizza. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he know it. So with that type of diet, it just kept us very youthful and kept us very strong. You know what I'm saying? People like me who's never smoking a day in their life. You know what I'm saying? Nuwapians, we're allowed to drink, but we don't get drunk, because once you lose control of yourself, then who is controlling yourself? You follow what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So all these different things we all have to take in consideration. But what a lot of people have to acknowledge is the fact that the master teacher is still the master teacher. He's still breathing. And if he's still breathing, he's going to teach to his last breath. Books is going to drop to he's at 1,257 books. And a lot of people say, well, your father's a master scribe. Why don't you write books? And I said, what is there to write about? He done covered everything from economics all the way through. You know what I'm saying? And I'm definitely going to let Obar know when I get back. I'm going to let him know, that you're showing him mad love out here. You know what I mean? But the debates is pretty much pointless when you on this level. And that's the thing. And I've been talking this. I told you, I promised you, Sinetta. I told Sinetta, I said, you know what? I'm going to get the Nuwapian soldiers and I'm going to send them in. And I'm going to let them take side, but they're going to take your show. Your name ain't going to be Sinetta, no. It's going to be Saye Nathar. You know what I'm saying? That's going to be your name. Saye Nathar, that's going to be your name. Because, Nuwapians, we still the show. You know what I'm saying? You looking at right now, as the viewers are watching, they looking at two teachers that have been groomed and raised by Dr. York, including Dr. Sebi. Dr. Sebi even getting on stage and saying, yo, Dr. York's the smartest man I ever met. Dr. York is that he's a Nuwapian, different things like that. So you get to see the product of what he teach. You follow what I'm saying? Now, there's many things that me and the brother right here, the brother Polight or the brother True Light, that we disagree on, but I try to focus on what we agree on. You follow what I'm saying? Because when you're dealing with the new covenant and you're dealing with the Nuwapian nation, we're coming from a basis of the same format, but the areas in which we're different, you know what I'm saying? The areas in which we're different is how we view things. And a lot of people want to get stuck on that. Like, I could grab this brother arm right here and be like, yo, I'm about to breast you or chastise you for whatever different reasons as a Nuwapian man. But as you notice, the moment I came in this room, the first thing I greet the brother with is Rahubat. Because I already know he know the sacred tones. I already know beyond anything else. I already know what he know, because he know what I know. So at the end of the day, when we on the battlefield together, not separated. And we have to create more of that. You follow what I'm saying? It don't matter what you wearing. It don't matter what symbols you rocking. We have to create more of the unification in our community. You follow what I'm saying? And that's why, that's why I said, Sinetta, I have to meet with Brother Polight, because there's a lot of heat in this topic. I've even seen posts, Brother Polight versus Prince York in a debate. This is the type of stuff that is the virus in our community. Because the moment somebody says Brother Polight versus Prince York, then what you've created is what? You've created a division. You've made it as if Brother Polight and Prince York are not Zamal. Zamal means brother. It's not brothers. As if we not family. He came up under the same schools I came up under. You know what I'm saying? I even post some of his videos. I have the Nuwapians. I got everybody. I say, yo, post this man videos. He ain't saying that's not profound. You follow what I'm saying? But what's most important is that we get these teams together, back under the same roof. And these are not even a request of Prince York. These are requests of the master. My father asked personally. He said, I don't know what's going, because a lot of rumors have been passed to him on you. And he says, I don't know what's going on, but this is what you tell Polight when y'all speak to him. Tell Polight that he is my son. He is my son beyond what anybody say. Genetically, whatever, he is my spiritual son. He's under me. Anybody who comes at Polight is coming at me. And they don't want to come. His exact words is, and they don't want to come at me. You know what I'm saying? So with my father making that statement, that let me know I need to embrace this brother and let the entire nation know. And I'm not just talking about the Nuwapian nation. I'm talking about all the nations know that unity is key, and that's what we must do. You got any comments on that, Polight?
Just digging the spirit and the energy. I wanted to make sure I stay as humble as possible and just show you support as you have an opportunity to be on the platform, because this is a platform when people see you on the camera, they seek to tear down primarily before they beseech you to engage for the purposes of establishing some kind of cohesiveness. So I want to just tread lightly in our conversation so that there's no need for any of us to respond evasively, and so we could demonstrate unity in its purest and strictest form. Though I don't mind disagreeing if the opportunity presents itself and there's a disagreement, I definitely engage progressively. However, I'm just appreciating the bill. I'm just meeting you for the first time directly, though we've corresponded online from time to time. And so I'm just enjoying the ride. I'm waiting for my brother Sanetta to ask questions, help us navigate, be our GPS. I'm looking forward to the bill.
I take questions. I got
Go
some
ahead.
questions.
Yeah, go ahead. Do your thing, my brother.
My main question is, here's a question that I'm guessing the people might be thinking. Well, what is the difference between the NU, New Covenant, and the NU, Nuapia Nation? What is the difference between those two? You follow what I'm saying?
New Covenant and New Wapians?
Yeah, what is the difference?
I'll tell you this. You could set the distinction. The NU and New Covenant stands for primordial waters. That which we have our inception in. We talking about new or noon, as some would say. So when we talk about the covenant, which is the berith, right, or the contract or the agreement, what agreement are we talking about? We're talking about the agreement with our sovereign and corporal creator. This is New Covenant community jargon, right? The universe. It is our disposition that we come into this existence with a predisposition. It is our disposition that we come into this existence for any of a number of purposes depending on what is the stimulus. So I'll say it like this. When a child is born and the stimulus for hunger arises, there's a pre-encoded gene for that child, despite the fact that it's never eaten outside of the womb. There's a pre-encoded gene upon the stimulus of hunger for that child to know to be weaned by his mother. Know exactly where to go and how to do it, to be fed. Should someone say, well, we're not going to breastfeed you, we're going to give you a baby bottle. Then the genes get re-encoded, and that may become the working model for being fed. So you have a predisposition, right? And then you have a new orientation should we not follow the predisposition or the pre-encoded DNA. So that predisposition is what we call the covenant between us and the universe. We conceptualize that we all have purpose. And should we be put under not necessarily perfect circumstances, but natural circumstances, we will respond to who and what we are and that which has been innate in our people for since time immemorial. So new just alludes to who we was since the beginning, because that same divine archetype of conception exists in us transgenerationally, because that's the epitome of DNA. That is the construct of DNA. Okay? The original brothers and sisters of this planet still exist in us to this very day. So if we were subject to the right circumstances and the right conditions, it is our conception, not our belief, that we will respond in like manner. So the problem is we just put in volatile and very inconsistent environments that create a convoluted scheme that in turn makes us assert ourselves in ways that contradicts who and what we truly are. So in New Covenant, we're talking about rising to the stature and the grace of the original brothers and sisters that were part of nature and in conformity with nature, not part of isfet or chaos. We're talking about ma'at. We're talking about reciprocity. We're talking about that which is mutually beneficial between us and the universe. So that's what New Covenant stands for. It means and represents to not violate the contract that we have with the cosmos, having been ordained by the universe to come into here. As we were taught, we're ontologists. We're practitioners and studiers of the universe. That's what we do. Ontology. So it is our conclusion, definitively, that we have a responsibility to get back to the natural way of things. So that's what we talk about in New Covenant. You can decide if it contradicts.
I'm just glad I finally can meet somebody who speaks English. Every other brother I done met can't seem to articulate anything past go. You know what I'm saying? So I'm good. I'm glad that was a good explanation on what New Covenant is. You follow what I'm saying? You know, I remember my father's explanation back when we, as the New Wapian Nation, in the late 80s, early 90s was known as New Covenant. His explanation was much different. But, you know what I'm saying, I definitely respect the position and direction that y'all are going in under the preordained of natural nature and ontology. We as New Wapians, we are ontologists of time, history, science, and predating history, going into the mystery, which is my story, etc. But we've reached a level of mastery, as my father has says, which is beyond. You know what I'm saying? Actually, here's a better way to explain it. As a lot of people may read, you'll see that Dr. York says Dr. Malachi Z. York, 720 degrees. 720 degrees is the highest level of degree. We as New Wapians are now tapping into our 720 degree. I'll break it down for you. 360 degrees is a perfect circle. Now, with 360 degrees being a perfect circle is going to the right, then you have to go back to the left. So that's 360 plus 360. 360 divided by 4 is what? 90. 90 degree angles. And as you know, if you're for the brothers that are in the Blue House, then you know about the gauge. So going further, the 90 degrees of each 90 degree angle that the sun hits, which is Atumre, Atunre, Amunre, and Anunre. So these are that's the breakdown of the first 360. That's the white sun. Now you have to also deal with the black sun. So the 360s are the black sun, which we've covered both doctrines, meaning that we've walked in the light, which would be righteousness as religion, and then we've walked in the dark, which is the unknown, the unseen, and the mystical. This is why New Wapians have been Amun for the longest. And the reason why I say Amun is the hidden. New Wapians have been hidden and quiet. We haven't came out on the scene in the longest because we've walked under the shade of the dark sun. You know what I'm saying? Because all secrets are hidden in dark. In the beginning, God said, "Let there be light." So that means the creative force of a God is in what? In darkness. You follow what I'm saying? And that darkness is the dark matter that elevates inside our body, known as 9 ether, which elevates us as melanated beings. You follow what I'm saying? So we're New Wapian, but we've advanced to a level much beyond the universe, and we've touched into the multiverse and the omniverse, and we've reached what they would call an omnipotential or omnipotent. And in that omnipotential, we are the supreme beings of the planet Earth, the teachers of the planet Earth. And no, we do not acknowledge ourselves from being from here. Meaning in the aspect, not you today, because we all know that you was born through your mother who is God. We're talking about you not being from here in the aspect of trying to think of the best way. It's hard. See, Brother Polight, he throws it out there, give it to you how it is. My father always taught me, give it to the people as how they can understand it. Brother Polight, that's what when I watch his videos, I was like, this brother don't give a fuck. He say, nigga, learn the words I'm using. You know what I'm saying? So we was always taught, you gotta give them how they, so they can understand it. You know what I'm saying? But I like his method on that, of how he's like, nigga, if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you don't need to be listening to what I'm saying. And I rock with that. But we as New Wapians, we deal with the omnipotent or the omnipotential, the ultimate reality of one's being and oneself. And what is Wunu Wapu? Wunu Wapu is a sacred spiritual science where science meets spirituality at a central point called natural nature, the natural nature of things. Now, when you said noon would be false. As the master teacher explained it, he said it was only be nu, what is in you, nupu, asu nupu, wunupu, asu nupu, and nabu nupu, which are the 3 degrees making up wunu wapu. And nu wabu equals 9 mind power, nu for 9, wa for mind, bu for balance, and then nu wapu is nu for 9, wa for mind, and pu for power, which are both 360 degrees of the both circles, which create the sun, bringing us together at the omnipresence of the heat the sun gives off, that we all know that's inside of our chest, known as the 9 ether. So that's what we as New Wapians do. We elevate you mentally, spiritually, and etherically to your true state as gods. You follow what I'm saying? So, and what the brother Polight is basically doing, he's basically showing y'all that it's all the same. You follow what I'm saying? We all here for the same, we're running the same purpose here. You know what I'm saying? Simultaneously, or as some people say, parallel. My understanding is, nothing parallel is 2 things running next to each other at the exact same distance, exact same measurement, but never touching each other. Now, my purpose of being here is so I can touch the brother. So now when these 2 parallels come together and they create the X, now we're dealing with the X chromosome, which would be the woman, meaning the woman is God. So that's our purpose of being here today, to unify ourselves off of that sacred feminine, that feminine principle, the 999. What's your bill on that?
Oh, I'm digging it all. There was 2 things in particular that I wanted to hone in on. So you had to start it over? Yeah, that was weird. I got you. Definitely. What I suggested in the very beginning was that new, as in primordial waters, and some would say noon. So I just want to make that clear. Otherwise, we would have called ourselves Noon Covenant, but we choose to call ourselves New Covenant. So I agree with you. I'm walking with you. And then you said earlier on, as I took a note, that some people may they selective about what the master teacher teaches, and I definitely understand that, and I understand the dangers of students being selective about taking certain aspects of the doctrine and refraining from using other aspects of the doctrine. It makes perfect sense, but we also have to be very objective about what are those aspects that are in question. So in some circumstances, it behooves us to take strict instruction, while in other circumstances, it is incumbent that we use our highest discretion and refrain from subscribing to something that we need to evolve before us. You understand what I'm saying? We need more enlightenment on. So I always stress that point to my brothers and sisters in the community, that I'm not in position to say I disagree with certain things that the master teacher proposes. But when we're talking about syllogisms, syllogistically speaking, you have to have two premises and a conclusion for you to have a well-formulated syllogism, right? And so what if one of the premises are in question? Then syllogistically speaking, we can't officially say it is what it is. I say that to say that if I have something in question, then I wait and I leave it pending. It doesn't necessarily mean it's not true. I need to wait until that information manifests before me, or until I can be able to critically think on it and be able to arrive at my own conclusion. So I always give people the right, when I'm educating, to say don't simply just accept everything he says. Like the man says, don't believe it, check it out. But what if after you check it out, you still don't believe it? From what I've learned from the master teacher is I've always been entitled to not accept every part of the information. I've always been entitled. That's my entitlement as a divine being. So I stress to people all the time, the thing that may make me a bit more distinct from a lot of other brothers and sisters who may call themselves Nuwapians is the fact that I'm a bit more assertive when it comes to what I refrain from subscribing to until I can relate or identify with it immediately. And until which time, it doesn't take away nothing from the master teacher. I just embrace everything else that I have a connection with, and I wait until the rest of the information reveals itself onto me. This is the way that I think we should behave as thinking, sentient beings. And I love being that part of me. For a long time, I was held captive, and it was suggested to me that I should just roll with everything that's being told. And that is not the way to go. Of course, I love and I embrace that man. Of course, I trust him as well. But you know, no matter how much you trust anybody on planet Earth, if they tell you something and you show a form of reluctance, it's not because you're disrespecting that person. It's because your common sense is telling you that you haven't generated enough evidence, right? Or don't have enough reason to rationalize that I'm making the right decision at this particular point in time. So with that, I don't think it's an offense against the master teacher. I think it's just a concept of understanding that this is a life path that we all taking and we all learn at different paces. And some of us are going to be very exceptional at certain subject matter, and some of us are going to be slower at other subject matter. And I don't mind being slow when it comes to certain subject matter. If I'm not proficient, if I haven't made suitable proficiency in preceding degrees in something, then I wait until I have. Until which time, then I can embrace the information. So I just wanted to put that out there to give people clarity on my disposition about embracing any and all things or being selective, because I don't embrace all the information. I really don't. It's an absolute fact. You know, and that's what makes me so powerful, because I embrace the teacher. I embrace the man because I develop a personal relationship with the man. So I embrace him. I embrace him as a teacher that we see on TV, but I also embrace him as a person who's helped educate me, as a person that's made sure he's made the phone calls, as a person who made sure he writes the letters. So I have a personal connection with the brother, and that doesn't disown anybody else from their connection with him if it was just through video and books, because because that's a strong connection in itself, depending on how deep you're reading. You may be more connected reading and watching him than knowing him, as some people may. In fact, many of the closest people to that black man are the people who didn't get a chance to get close to him, because sometimes we're hindered by our ability to access him, because familiarity breeds contentions. You feel me? Sometimes being too accessible takes away from the magic of who and what we are in this human experience. So we take that all into consideration, and I say, man, I feel blessed to have the mind to be able to say some of the information is pending. I don't tell you it's wrong. I just say some stuff is pending until a later date, and then I can be able to arrive at a conclusion where I feel safe.
When in the presence of the most profound teacher in the Nuwapian nation, then you can go ahead and I'll take those questions right now. I've been trained, groomed since birth to be able to answer any and all questions in, outside, under, and above the sun. So that's neither here or there. Any question that anybody may have on all the doctrine, please, I beg you to ask me, because me personally, one comment that was made to me by the brother Young Pharaoh was, what research have you done on your own? And I notice most of these people are talking, but they haven't even walked the path to even go to Egypt themselves and see the works of which they're talking about. Some people have not even made the spiritual journey to be able to see the works of which they're talking about. Some people have not, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people may know, we have full bills on the whole, the Ark of the Covenant building with all that different stuff, in which that we can both build it up and completely dismantle the entire system in itself, in which we've always done with any doctrine. You follow what I'm saying? The fact that we show with restraint from taking down such empires that have been built is only the fact that because we look at ourselves as the parents of the conscious community, because there was no such thing as conscious community prior to Dr. Malachi Zioki. He's the one who woke you up to the schools. People like to question the teacher, you know what I'm saying, and that's what he asks us to do. So if you said that there's anything that you have question on, I'm taking those questions right now. And if there's any question, and if there's any question that I may not or cannot answer, because I do not have all the answers, I'm not your God, so I do not have all the answers. But if there's any question that I do not or cannot answer, I most definitely will personally deliver it today to the master teacher, and we will have an answer by tomorrow, because I done covered, the man done wrote 1,257 books and still writing, which is uncomparable to any author. And with that being, with him being able to write on that amount of level, that means just because you have a question doesn't mean your question wasn't already answered. It just depends on the amount of information that you've personally taken in. With myself being able to cover that much, I said me because I'm used to speaking, that's a TC language in Ghana, so they say me a lot, me. But with myself being able to be able to challenge and take on so much doctrine, I've come to my own conclusions in which challenging my father on many topics. You know what I'm saying? I've challenged it. And the only person I would look at, that has truly debated me would be my father. You know what I'm saying? He whooped my ass horrifically, but I was able to take that challenge on and get every single question, because in the doctrine there's many things that you will question. Like, for example, we can go into Egyptology alone, and there's certain Egyptians, a lot of Egyptologists will challenge my father and say Dr. York is not practicing the true way of ancient Egypt. And when the master teacher came in and brought in that new covenant in 1993 of ancient Egypt, he showed you these are the ways that was taught by the Kemetics, or the Caucasian Egyptians that came into ancient Egypt in the late eras of ancient Egypt. See, people don't understand a lot of things in our doctrine because they're not on the level or the mental capacity to be able to take in this amount of information. Ontology is a very powerful science in which is covering all things within natural nature. So a lot of people don't know that the pharaoh, that certain things like that was done. But these don't misconstrue it. These things wasn't done by us African pharaoh Egypt once the science was mixed in under free. When you had the ancient eras of Freemasonry, that was stolen from the Egyptians, took back to Greece, and then brought back to Egypt, given back to them less than 500 years later, it was completely wiped out. And this created your today, or your Illuminati, your illumination. But you have to remember that light is blinding. Light blinds you in ignorance. The thing that glows the brightest is usually the most deceiving. They call their God light. At the same time, they refer to their devil as the flame. And we know that light cannot exist without the presence of a flame. So your illumination. But you have to remember that light is blinding. Light blinds you in ignorance. The thing that glows the brightest is usually the most deceiving. They call their God light. At the same time, they refer to their devil as the flame. And we know that light cannot exist without the presence of a flame. So with light not being able to exist without the presence of a flame, that means if I turn off all the lights in this room and I hold a flashlight in front of me, you can't see what's behind the flashlight. With you not being able to see what's behind the flashlight, you can't question what exists. All you can do is look at the sun, but you can't see what's on the other side of it. That's why the master teacher opened himself up to be questioned. So anything that can be questioned, if you have the ability to get in communication, as the brother Polight has mentioned, if you have that ability, then you should definitely question him as well as question myself. Me personally, any opportunity I haven't been able to question my father, I've always taken it directly to the 24 elders. 24 elders are the 24 elders or the 24 guardians within the Nuwapian nation, or known as the most profound within our nation, who give you such wisdom, sacred wisdom of Zahuti, of Tahuti, of Thoth, who is one of the matriarchs of ancient Egypt. So what we must consideration is many things that people say, well, I do or don't agree with. Like, for example, when I was coming up in the community, we slept on the floor, hard floors, cold floors. Now some people may say I agree or disagree with sleeping on floors, but when Christopher Columbus came to the United States of America, prior to him having slaves, he slept his ass outside, and then he went and said, I can go get niggas to build this for me. And with him being able to do that, that means that he was willing to take the sacrifice to build this nation, and you're not. And that's why he went and used you to build it. And then this is the mentality that people are taking in consideration. I've seen many YouTube videos where people are coming at my father, Dr. York had Nuwapians sleeping on floors. Fucking right, you sleeping on the floor. My son right now is sleeping on the floor, and I could buy him a king size bed, but he's gonna learn the discipline that I learned in that community. It's discipline in this school. You can have all the information in the world, but if you don't have the discipline to use it, you are a fool, blind, deaf, and dumb, as the Cushites would say. The Cushites would always refer to people being blind, deaf, and dumb, or as the biblical terms would say, nomads without intelligence. And this is what the Hebrews were, which the Bible confirms. The Hebrews were nomads prior to meeting the Egyptians. So you have to take all these things in consideration. All questions get answered. That's the purpose of Q&A. As you mentioned, his books are written in question and answer format. So with his books being written in question and answer format, that means there might be one book or two books that went over your head. But please bring those concerns to me now on video so we can get the whole family to be able to get these answers for you. And like I said, anything that I cannot answer, I will make sure it gets answered.
How is Pop's health? That's the real question I've always wanted to ask. How is your Pop's health?
My father's health is moderate for a 71-year-old. You follow what I'm saying? So as being a spiritual being in which he is, you have to remember our doctrine teaches you natural nature. And a lot of people don't take this in consideration with the certain comments that they make towards him being incarcerated. Under the rules of natural nature presents you with the fact that there's both things as life and death. We see this every day with summer and winter. In the summer, and that's why when they say the beginning of the year is January 1st, that's wrong. The beginning of the year would be June 21st, and then the end of the year would be December 21st. And the reason why is because in the summer, that's when all things are alive, and in the winter, all trees and etc. plants, they begin to die, and then even animals themselves go into such stations which they call hibernation, which we know as a true coma state that they go in. So my father, being a divine being himself, he's still bound to the laws of natural nature here on the planet Earth. So his health is moderate. You follow what I'm saying? He suffers from a condition known as angioedema, which is a hereditary condition which allows certain parts of your body to swell up, and he, you know what I'm saying? So he's been suffering for that all his life. You follow what I'm saying? Me personally, I used to have the hereditary trait when I was younger, but it seemed to wither away with age as I got older and older and older. But many of my siblings have it as well. So that's moderate. But anybody who cares about Dr. York or claim that they care about Dr. York or claim succession to Dr. York, then prove it. Because at the end of the day, what an elder pointed out to me is, he said, all these guys, they come out and they pretend this. Like I saw a brother who actually made a video saying he's the real Prince York. And I said, well, you are the real Prince York, because my name ain't Prince. My name is not Prince. Prince is a title that was given to me, they say, as a cliche, as some may say, Prince York. My name is Amanubi Moses Okran York, or Amun Nabab Reye. You follow what I'm saying? People not even on that level of affirmation to even know what these sacred tones are even meaning. Follow what I'm saying? Even there's certain groups that saying, yo, they teacher's name is Amanubi, but don't know what Amanubi even mean. So I break all of that up. Nobody's on that level. When it comes to my father, his health is moderate. But what we have to understand is that, do we want him to be healthy in prison, or do we want him to be free? You follow what I'm saying? Because if anybody gets sick under the type of conditions that they have him in which living in. You follow what I'm saying? In the aspect of he's sitting in a room that's 40 degrees. So he's freezing cold. On top of that, he hasn't seen sunlight. He don't get privileges like go out and play basketball no more. You know, they switched him 10 different prisons when he went into jail. And people don't take this in consideration. You follow what I'm saying? Even with my father, you already know. You already know if I was cold at basketball. But But, you know what I'm saying, you know, people don't take these different things in consideration. They just make their assumptions. And when I say making an assumption, I'm not referring to the brother Polight making an assumption. I'm referring to most of these YouTubers. And what we as the black community have to look at is when you see people slandering the master teacher or any teacher, you have to acknowledge them as being the virus in the community. These people are a disease in the community built to destroy us. Because if you say that you are slandering Dr. York, fine. I'll do you how we did in the Ansar days. I'll say, you prove to me that my doctrine is wrong, and we'll follow you. You agree with that, Brother Polight? Me and Brother Polight, we'll follow you. New Covenant and the New Wapi Nation, we'll follow you, but prove to us our doctrine is wrong. Prove to us that our father is wrong. Prove to us that everything he did was a lie, and we'll follow you. Because I can prove to you in 1963, when the doctrine first started in America, in 1973, which goes into the answer to a law. So he taught Wu Nuwapu in 1963, had to re-prepare you in 1973, switched Nubian Islamic Hebrew in 1983, and became New Covenant in 1993. And then after 1993, when 2003 came at the end of the Caucasian racist rule, then he ended off with Christianity and went straight into Wu Nuwapu. But because of the control that the Caucasian race has over the earth and the type of grip that they have on your mind with the people right now who's disagreeing with everything I'm saying and laughing at me as I'm speaking, what happens is my father said, you know what? We have to build on 2012. And that's one of the biggest things that I challenge when people say the Mayans was wrong. No, the Mayans wasn't wrong. Your translation of the Mayan calendar was wrong. What people have to understand is what takes place in 2012 is a precession change. And in that precession change is when the sun cycle had to be reordained. And when the sun cycle was reordained, this is why nowadays you see everybody waking up and everybody wants to be conscious, unks and everything else. But you have to put some direction behind this science. You can't just say you have high science. You follow what I'm saying? But to get back to the point at hand, yeah, my father's health is moderate. But what we must do is we must promote, and I encourage Brother Polight to promote to petition and get him pardoned. I've heard that you have. Promote the petition and get him pardoned and clemency and free from prison this year. We have to sign that petition not now, but right now. Such as right knowledge. You gotta do it right this second. Sign that petition so we can free the master teacher. You know, and the reason why I would like to free the master teacher is so brothers like me and Polight can retire. And we can go back into our humble state. Like you stated earlier, you said Prince York came off very arrogant. Reason why I come off very arrogant is because I don't know the level the opponent is bringing at me. I don't know what he's bringing. I've been attacked my entire life. In the aspect of even being forced to have to go through certain public school systems in the later eras of my life, in high school, etc. After my father was incriminated, and people want to talk down on my Amun braid, and people want to disrespect me on my culture, not knowing the languages and the levels of mastery that I have in their head. And that's why I said, you know what, forget school, I'm dropping out. And when I dropped out, I said, ain't nothing nobody can teach me that my father hasn't already. I dropped out of high school with straight A's. You follow what I'm saying? And didn't need no university degree. We brought the multiversity and the omniversity and the omni principle. You follow what I'm saying? So that's what we at as a nation right now. But you have any other questions before I pass it over to Brother Polight? 667 BC. It wasn't the Egyptians that in which, when I say Egyptians, I'm just talking about that era of Egypt. We're talking about the Assyrians. And the Assyrians, what language did the Assyrians speak? The Assyrians spoke Hebrew. And when the Assyrians came in, like I said again, I'm going to repeat it again. The Assyrians spoke Hebrew. And when the Assyrians came into ancient Egypt, the Assyrians brought in their language, their culture, and conquered Egypt in the late 500 BC in that last dynasty. And with that being done, you had a new era of Egypt, which brought in these sacred practices where they, and like your brother young Pharaoh said, they mixed both Egyptology with Celtic history and Celtic sciences, which created a degree of knowledge known as asceticism, which dealt with both vampirism and it created a big slander and attack on ancient Egypt as a whole. So I'm not attacking my brothers. I'm saying we got to focus on the right eras of Egypt, which is the pre-dynastic Egyptians, which were known as the Patalites, who are the Nuwapians in this day and time. That's what I was referring to. The Hebrew people, Assyrians, at that time attacked Egypt and they won. And when they won, they came in and brought those sciences in. It was not an original Egyptian practice. And when you see, when you see on the walls of Egypt, you see the Egyptians and you see a large phallus and different stuff like that. You have to understand that the Egyptians overstood the science of nature. They wasn't breaking down the sex force of two males. They're breaking that was their way of depicting the chromosomes, in which they didn't have telescopes to go, different microscopes to go look at, and they were depicting these different things. They depicting life. That's why when you deal with an obelisk is a representation of a phallus with a quartz crystal on the top, which represents the sperm, which is all life. So people not even on the level to attack ancient Egypt. You follow what I'm saying? Next question.
Yes, I would like for you to answer that too, Polight. How important is it right now for us to make sure we clear all this science up, because you know we got the naysayers, we got brothers that still attack you till this day for saying something that you never said, and they will bloop out the part where you say, I'm not talking about the origin of it. I'm going on that play.
It's only important to teach those who want to be educated. I'm not interested in the people that are interested in misinformation. We have to keep that a total 100. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I have no interest in people who choose to submerge themselves in the spell unless it's going to be documented, the conversation, for the purposes of education. Other than that, I'm not going to lose no sleep on them mixtaping, cutting, pasting, and editing anything that is said. Because we know you have the old kingdom, middle kingdom, and the new kingdom, and then you also have the pre-dynastic kingdom of Egypt. You feel me? Which many people are at loss for when we talk about pre-dynastic Egypt. So I don't feel we are at loss for any of the misconceptions that may come through, and as far as what our ancestors yielded to as far as truth is concerned, only because it just gives me a great opportunity to shine when I clear up the mess. So I'm not upset about it. The main thing that we have to do is educate the people that's interested in education. Clear up the misinformation when it's proposed to us or presented to us, and we move forward. That's how this thing works. You feel me? So I'll just wait for the next line of communication.
I'll jump on it. Yeah, that's really important, because Hebrew Israelites, they look for any room. You know what I'm saying? Different groups, they look for any room to attack ancient Egypt. But even when you're going into ancient Egypt, you have to understand, notice the word that you're using. You're using Egypt. So you have to keep noticing the word Egypt and then acknowledge the fact that ancient Egypt isn't ancient Egypt. You see what I'm saying? The word Egypt is a Greek word. So as you start to go into these different sciences, you start going into this. See, I told you, Sinai, I said, when you put me in a bill with somebody that's on my level, we can have a conversation. As long as I'm talking to children and the doctrine is pointless. So I'm so happy, you know what I'm saying, that I'm sitting here next to the God right now, sitting here next to the brother Polight.
We got 15 more minutes because he got to roll. We got to get him.
Okay, so now I'm so happy we got 15 more minutes. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, the Hebrews, they look for any room to attack ancient Egypt. They attack it with homosexuality and different things like that. But that's only because their ancestors didn't understand the science. And they have to remember, the Egyptians never took them into captivity. The Egyptians invited them into ancient Egypt. These people was invited in when their land was full of disease. Read your Bible. You know what I'm saying? Read your Bible. Because when you start reading that Old Testament and you read it in Hebrew, because I know the Hebrews don't speak Hebrew, but guess what? I do. So when you start to read Hebrew, and I'll come and I'll be Rabboni Yahshua for you. You follow what I'm saying? Rabboni Yahshua was my father's name when we taught the Hebrew school. They taught the Hebrew school, and I'll be that for you if I have to be that to you to guide you to Wunuwapu, because a lot of that information is misinformation, especially the attack on African tribes. They're attacking on African tribes, but they don't know the sense of spirituality behind it. They don't understand what these people are actually trying to present in these different conversations. But once again, I want to bring it back to the task at hand. I was asking the brother Polight, I was saying, any questions that you have to the Nuwapian nation on stuff that you may misunderstand or you may feel is not foolproof, please ask me now.
I reserve the right to have those things that are pending in my conscience to go into that dialogue on the strength of you asking me something and or us talking in private. And I do that out of respect for my teacher. You feel what I'm saying? Because people take things out of context. Me having a question doesn't mean that I'm nullifying what the brother teaches. It's just me having a question. You feel what I'm saying? And people are very immature, and they have their own hidden motives and agendas. You feel what I'm saying? So I say all this to simply say that there are parts of the information that I do not identify with, because parts of the information demand that we experience them. And the master teachers always taught us, somewhere in the midst of those true light tapes, you know what I'm saying? Before it close out, you hear the yum yum. Before you hear all that, somewhere in there, he tells you, don't feel obligated to take on my experiences. You feel what I'm saying? His experiences are beholden to him. My experiences are beholden to me. Your experience with the ancestors is a personal experience. Everybody's not going to have the same personal experiences. So it'd be moot to even try to disagree with people in certain capacities. So I don't really have a misunderstanding of the information, more rather a lack of similar experience. So I reserve the right to not put anyone in anguish about my inability to experience something because it's pending. Maybe I'll experience it one day. So
since we have such a short enough time, what I would like you to do is, because the only reason I was making sure that you asked the question is because I was saying, because I know this is exactly like we're talking. There's people out there. Oh man, these ain't even guns, man. These is plastic. But there's people out there who hear certain things, you know what I'm saying, be like, Brother Polight say he disagreed with the information or the affirmation because of this, but he didn't say it. And then we'll have a video up in the next 5 minutes after this go up, and they'll be attacking my father. And when they attack my father, then that's why he keeps, and Sinetta keep trying to stress to me as an elder to me. He keeps saying, calm down, Prince. What people don't understand is when you're talking about my father, you ain't talking about my spiritual father, you're talking about my dad. And I know my dad was subjected to have to finish the raising of me over the phone or through letters because of things that other people are saying. You follow what I'm saying? Things that other people were doing. Disgruntled members that left it. And that's how Bilal Phillips' book came out. Bilal Phillips went and found disgruntled members who had left the nation because they weren't humble enough to sleep on the floor. They weren't humble enough to stand guard all day or propagate and make that $100 quota. They weren't on that level mentally. You know what I'm saying? And then people talk about it, they say, well, Dr. York, the way he had things managed, You have to understand that we had our own police force. We can't put you in jail in Brooklyn in our community. So we had our own police force known as the Mujahid, who handled SOI as well, Swords of Islam. You know what I'm saying? To the point where they almost got into a big, huge spat with the FOI, with the Nation of Islam, which my father and Farrakhan came together and cleared that up, and that's when he dropped the We Are Family poster. But I really just want you as Brother Polight to clarify and let it be known that you don't have to explain your question. We can talk down a later date, but clarify that it doesn't have anything to do with charges or anything like that, so the people won't have nothing to attack our father with.
Well, I'll tell you this. My discipline doesn't allow me to present certain ideas that I have because I teach my brother's order, the same order that I was educated in. So my discipline wouldn't permit it. All right? And it's simple questions. It's nothing intense. As far as the case is concerned, I do not know. I believe Dr. York is innocent. I have tremendous reason to believe that he's innocent. However, I do not know. I never slept in his bed. You feel what I'm saying? There's 2 sides or 3 sides to the story. His side, and then there's the truth. So all I could do as an observer is weigh in on the information. And I can clearly see the conspiracy. I can prove the conspiracy to bring the man down. But even in light of a conspiracy being used to bring the man down, even amidst of the propaganda promulgated throughout the media to infiltrate our consciousness, there still may be reason to believe that he may have done it. So as a rational being, I decided, since I have never been in that man's bed, to watch what he does day in and day out, and the nature of the charges and the allegations, I still hold him dear in my heart as my father and my master teacher. I don't turn my back on him. Unfortunately, I just do not know if he did or he didn't. And it's my right to say, I simply don't know. I would like to believe he didn't, and I have reason to believe he didn't. But even with all the reasons that I have to believe that he didn't molest those children, it still stands to reason that he could have. And nothing can take that away. I just don't know. So I practice empathy. I practice considering other people's families who are on the receiving end of the information in light of the fact there may be a possibility that it happened. I just don't believe the man did it, but maybe I just don't want to believe the man did it. So that's where I stand. Now, New Orleans have got angry with me for taking that stance. But the way that I've been educated was to not just believe because I would like to. You feel what I'm saying? So all I could do, I'm coming, my brother.
Involved in the case as well?
I'm coming, my brother. Go ahead, you guys ask me a question.
Wasn't you involved in the case with yourself? Because what you have to understand is, like you said, you personally never slept in a man's bed.
That's what happened.
I have. I personally, goddamn it, I was there. Witches here. And over there. And every fucking where. And I can say without a shadow of a doubt that my father's innocent. And people like to throw in the faces, they like to keep saying children. But what you have to take, it was not one child in that case at all. They threw 200 charges at him that he knocked out the court, and then they had to go to sexual intent. That had nothing to do with children at all. With minors, that they say we move minors across state lines, but everybody knows that my father travels privately. Am I right or wrong?
Doesn't move by himself.
He moves by his damn self.
Well, the security. I don't know who was the security after I left. My Tim, but what Wali used to be, Suleiman. I seen him the other day, which is interesting. But yeah, he watches us. Bigger, yeah. But yeah, those are the type of people he used to move with. As far as children, no, I don't recall them. And like Polight said, in his defense, I was never in the man's bed. He was my producer as a reggae artist, as a young person. I've been in the studio, not in the big hall of knowledge, but the one across the street in his house. I was there. So he never treated or ill-treated me at any point, any time. He respected me, and he respected my art form.
Well, you know what I'm saying, and I definitely respect your position. So I respect the position because the master teacher has taught us that you must have right wisdom, right reason, and then right overstanding. So like the brother Polight said, he has no reason to believe that the master teacher has. But what you have is you have a lot of media propaganda that they love to propagate. But what you have to acknowledge is, did any Nuwapians respond? Do they have any individual Nuwapians that were interviewed by the local newspapers or by federal law that had a chance to speak on that case? And the answer is not at all. They did not allow us to speak. Nothing in Atlanta would allow us to speak. We had to be behind the scenes pushing everything that we had to push. You follow what I'm saying? Behind the scenes putting all that information out. You see what I'm saying? So I ain't trying to hear nothing about no child molestation. I was there. So if I was there and you're dealing with a child molester, as you're saying, 200 counts, I have everybody that grew up in all the Mufmi Noons and Mufmi Nancies that grew up in my era can all say, why not me if you're dealing with a mass child molester? When we was in his house. His own children and children that wasn't his, but their parents was there. Because my father would he was known for throwing block parties on Hart Street. Block parties on Hart Street was always going down. You know what I'm saying? I've heard a lot about you, you know what I'm saying? But, when you're dealing with, I don't know if Brother Polight, have you ever met my father personally?
Nope.
Okay, so Brother Polight, without having a physical experience with the master, you know what I'm saying? And like he said, it doesn't matter whether you have a physical, you don't matter if you shake the man's hand or if you read the man's letter. The information flows through him, period. So, you know what I'm saying, with him never having that physical experience, I would say is why he would be able to say that. But people like me and this brother who've had the physical experience, you can let know off the rip. When you're dealing with a man that has as many wives as my father has much bread as my father, that's out of the question. And then you get to see where his intentions was used for it. And the reason why they attack my father with the children is because he always focused his doctrine on the children. Mufmi Noons and Mufmi Nancies in our old doctrine is supposed to be the chosen 144,000. Which at that time was the people in the communities. Their children's children would be the chosen 144,000. That was in the religious doctrine. As we went forward, we were building the community for the future children because everybody, if you'd have grew up on the land and you'd have been raised in that setting, you would have came out and became Brother Polights. You'd have came out here and been soldiers. And then we would have been able to build and bring more in. To the aspect of my father had his own fraternal order going into colleges. Getting the college students. I ain't trying to hear nothing. I ain't even trying to hear no peak of that. You know what I'm saying? Because if you come with me, you're going to have to come with, you can't come with assumption and reason. You're going to have to come with fact. You're going to have to show me. Because everything that people try to present to me, none of them was used in a court of law. And 90% of it was never even in the case. People like to say, we found an orange vibrator in Dr. York's house. Damn right, he had bitches. Where's yours? And I refer to it that way because that's the people who is listening to what I'm saying. And I'm so fucking tired of that. And that's why I told Sarnetta, even if I wanted to debate, I can't. Because Brother Polight got a lot more restraint than me. In the community where we grew up, you knew how we was raised. It was you knock a nigga block off his fucking head. Period. I take your jaw from you because I'm not going to allow you to disrespect my biological or my spiritual master. Period. I'm not going to allow you to disrespect Brother Polight. And any Nuwapian to tell you, you come at Brother Polight, you coming at me. Because I say, look, that's our brother. I don't give a fuck what he doing. That's our brother, and he represents my father. You represent my father, I got love for you. You don't represent my father, I kill you. Whether either in a doctrine battle or I kill you. I'm not referring to you. I'm saying people. Whether in a doctrine spat or any other spat you want to get into. Because I don't let that shit fly. Ever. If you met my father personally, then you know exactly what kind of person he is. I was one of the kids that was with him when all the other kids would run up to the gate and they would all be greeting my father. If he wanted to grab one, grab one. If you want to, we had over 20 photographers on Tamaray and in Brooklyn taking pictures all day long. But you don't have not one picture of Dr. York pushing some little kid in his house. Giselle, yeah, Camp Giselle and everything. So I ain't trying to hear no build on that shit. Come at me. You want to debate me, you war me with doctrine. But you already know you're going to get your ass whooped. Because you already know what this is. And that's what Sarnetta is trying to tell these brothers. Come at Prince York with doctrine. Because you come at me with doctrine, I done walked all the schools already. And anything that I miss, I got elders pulling the strings. I got off a phone with an elder right before I got here. I said, look, da-da-da-da-da-da. And my brother Duamu Tef out Usuri, he said you stayed at his house in Savannah, Georgia back in the day. And he just wanted me to let you know that on camera. You know the brothers they wasn't loving Savannah, Georgia. So shout out to the family out in Savannah, Georgia. But you know what I'm saying? That's my point of view on that.
Yeah, so I want to say this to the people that's out there again, because people are talking about my disposition, and you have to understand that Brother Polight evolved greatly because of Dr. York. So there's no way I'm gonna say anything inflammatory, disrespectful, or contentious to my brother here, not because that's his biological son, but because that's my father. And I stand by his side. The man is responsible for me becoming a better man. So because the man is responsible for me becoming a better man, it is a social imperative that I conduct myself accordingly during the course of this interview. Now, should this brother be anybody else, he will not have immunity. This doesn't mean that I don't agree with the things he's been saying. I'm just letting you know that the way I've been trained is that right now I have to give the highest regard and the highest respect. Not because this is his biological son, because I'm not spooked out. More rather, it's because that's my father. Point blank period. So because that's my father, if he's repping him heavy, then I'ma stand down. You're not gonna get confrontation out of me. That's my discipline. Now everybody else who wanna take a brother on, I can deal with you. But if the brother tried me right now, I would respectfully disagree. But I wouldn't even allow it to escalate, because the respect and the training that I've been given by a general, by a sovereign grand commander, by a supreme grand hierophant, by a master teacher, I can't do that. It'd be disrespectful to everything that he has educated me on. No more than I expect Sarnetta to hear something about Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad and turn around and turn on that black man. There ain't nothing that you can say or should be able to say to shake Brother Sarnetta's foundation, because that's his teacher. You feel what I'm saying? So when a man changes another man's life, that man is in debt to him for the rest of his life. You're not going to get that kind of conversation out of me. For those of you that are a bit upset and hoping this could become a young Pharaoh and Brother Prince York conversation, it's not going to happen. I got way more sense in that. I got too much respect for the master teacher to come out before the public and misrepresent how he's educated me to deal with my family. The Nuwapians are my family. They don't have to embrace me. I embrace them. And because of those contentions and my vision and the way I go, I was given instruction on how to move, and I follow my instruction. You feel what I'm saying? And that's how we gonna go. But I'm not gonna stop contributing to the community. I'm not gonna stop having my own thinking mind. Like I said, there's things that I may not embrace because I haven't experienced the information, so I leave it pending. And that is the best way for me to say. You dig what I'm saying? Out there, Rahubat, to the family out there, we love you. You know, let's get pot in the bab out of there and let's do what we do. I love y'all. You see, y'all may say, oh man, now the niggas starting to come with that Nuwapu. Yeah, listen, let me tell you what it is. I never left. You say I'm gone and come back. Is that I have to take my path. You know why? Because you need the people that's going to be staunch Nuwapian. You need that. The people that's going to be practitioners of Nuwapuyi. You need that. And then you also need the other people who kind of give you a certain incentive to walk you through the information. Because as long as it's right knowledge, it's right knowledge. Nonetheless. You feel what I'm saying? You're not going to walk into every Nuwapian store and come out a Nuwapian. It's a fact. Sometimes people are going to be less receptive. Sometimes they're going to see his headdress and they're going to create a defense mechanism for the information. So the beauty about this information, the beauty about the master teacher, he's the type of dude that could come out of a corner store with a bag of chips and 50-cent soda. He's so down to earth. While it's the same breath, you would never know that this man is leading a whole community. You feel what I'm saying? That's what makes him so special, and that's what made him special to me. He's the same one that could rock Chloe glasses and off-the-chain pinky ring and teach you about Hebrew all at the same exact time. And I was from the streets, so what I saw was the pinky ring and the Chloe glasses when he was teaching. And I'm like, yo, it got my attention like, son is fly. And I got his lingo, and I love his verbiage, his jargon. The information that he was administering was just the topping. But his whole swag is what captivated me. Like, damn, look at OG being able to connect with me on the level that I'm at. I can show and share him with the homies and get them captivated. So who am I to deviate from tradition. Who am I to go against tradition? I'm a swag out too. But that doesn't mean everybody should. We need everybody at different intervals to captivate the audience. We was taught that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad was one of the greatest men to ever walk the planet via the master teacher. So you know what? I say the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is the greatest man to walk the planet. As for Fard Muhammad, I'll pass until I get further notice. You see what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I'm rocking with most honorable Elijah Muhammad because the master teacher said so. And I'm not going to disrespect or offend anybody that I was taught was a great man. That's how it worked. And anybody that Doc may have had beef with, it is not my responsibility to create a resurgence of that conversation. What I'm supposed to do, like when they say Dr. Ben and Dr. York had a beef, or they say Dr. York was trying to kill Dr. Ben. Guess what?
I found a picture of Dr. Ben on Tamarack.
Guess how I deal with that situation though. Because you want to say those things, but you don't want to say the things where Dr. York is giving that man praise and props. Exactly. Now you got to understand these guys are scholars in their own right. Okay, so they have doctrinal indifferences. You feel me?
Just like we have today.
Now watch this. The master teacher named me Nasut, and Seti was named Suten. Ashwa Kwesi. Okay. But when we study the Medu Necher, we understand there's an honorific transposition. So you will see the soot plant first, but it doesn't mean that you pronounce it when you read it. So when you study honorific transposition, Suten, right? I'm not going to use the word perversion. But depending on the more archaic term, listen to me carefully. If you're dealing with the more ancient or archaic term, you won't pronounce what you see first because they give reference to certain glyphs. So if there's a Ray or a Ra there, and you see Amen Ra, it will say Ra Amen. But you don't say Ra first. You say Amen when you speak it. But when you read it, you see Ra first. It's called honorific transposition in the Medu Neter. So when you see Suten, and you see the soot plant there, that's because it's a divine symbol. But you're not supposed to say soot first. You're supposed to say ne-soot, not Suten. You feel what I'm saying? So my teacher named me Amuna Sinatumre. But you have Sarah Sut and Seti. You feel me? Those are doctrinal indifferences and or inconsistencies or periods in time you choose to subscribe to in order to facilitate or demonstrate the information that you know or the lack of it thereof. I'm not banging on Ashwa Kwesi nor Sarah Sut and Seti. I'm telling you that these things will happen when we're dealing with the doctrine. You feel what I'm saying? And if you try to bang on me, then I'm going to come out and I'm going to give you the grammatical checks, and then you have to decide if Brother Polight is misappropriating the information, if he's hating, or if he's educating. But guess what? I never came out and said, yo, your name's spelled wrong, my nigga. I never did that.
Other people did though.
Because I have humility, and the master teacher taught me otherwise. I said, I want to bring my brother in. I want to embrace him. And say, look what your teacher named me. No, you can use Suten. People use it. The archaic term is Nasut. And many people misread Nasut the wrong way because they don't understand honorific transposition. So they're reading the first thing they see. Not understanding we give reference to our ancestors and the things that have been attributed to that which is divine. So we say that to say this. You know, but now we on fire. Now we having fun. So again, that's the homie. Sarah Sut and Seti is the homie. So I know you Negroes want to go, oh, you're hating and you're not. That's my homie. I'm saying that his teacher comes from a certain plane of thought, school of thought. I understand the teachings. I know when I'm here in Prince Hall. You see what I'm saying? Because we was taught to learn what other brothers and sisters are learning so we can engage them in conversation. So one of the schools of thought that we had to learn about was Masonry, more especially in the case, the honorary Masons that are Prince Hall, that are free and so-called free in the Sept F and AM or whatever the case you want to do. But these are, go ahead.
When you was going up against the Hebrews, was you having fun in doing that because you knew that they had no legs to stand on?
Let me explain something to you. It's no fun, and I'm going to tell you why it's no fun. Dr. Clark was the one that said, what about debating people? He said, I debate my equal. All others I teach. You feel what I'm saying? That don't mean we're going to know the same amount of information. But the Hebrews haven't even gotten to a point, as far as the Hebrews that I've been interfacing with, right? I debate my equals. All others I teach. right? And when you teaching somebody in the class, you know what kills a teacher? When you have a classroom of 31 people. It doesn't matter if 30 out of 31 pass. What matters is the one that failed. You feel me? That's what stays on the teacher's conscience. The one who keeps failing. The one who keeps being left back. Because it's almost a testament that I'm doing something wrong. Or this is the one child that I can't reach. And that's who the Hebrews are to me. They the children you can't fucking reach. They the ones who want to get left back in second grade. They love second grade so much, they don't want to pass on to third grade. They love the second grade teacher so much that they say, I'm opting out of passing. I'm staying here. I love this information right here. Can we get more shiny stickers with smiley faces? This is what the Hebrews are dealing with right now. And I try to leave them alone. You be always opening up this damn Hebrew can of worms. I told those brothers to put a white flag there out of respect. But is it fun? No, it may look like I'm having fun because I'm trained to have fun in the process. Sounds like a contradiction. But at heart, I'm hurt that I still even have to have the conversation. We should have moved on a long time ago. You feel what I'm saying? Like, we got to talk to you about a man being swallowed by a whale. And a whale can only swallow no more than that which is the size of an orange. But you didn't read the God series. These are things that we learned. Jonah and the whale, Jonah and the sign. Like, we learned these things. You feel what I'm saying? Your own scripture tells you that Judas was made out. He was transfigured to look like your Jesus. So whether we like the narrative or not, if we can read and comprehend, the narrative says that Jesus was made out to look like Judas and Judas was made out to look like Jesus. And the synoptic gospels are not synonymous. They're inconsistent. Starting from what was on top of the cross. These are things that we learned from the God series. Y'all make me go on my Nuwapian bag. I try to leave that alone because I know y'all be hating. So I leave that alone and I just talk to you about other things. So try to just captivate you, warm you up, and let you know that I'm sane because they've created a situation to make you think these brothers and sisters are nuts. So I understand that's what you believe. So you gotta have people like myself that you know are sane, and every now and then we have these conversations, and I can go on my Nuwapian bag and let you know it is what it is. Because I can tell you about the planet Rilo 7. Like, if you go international, you will see that they found a planet that has 3 suns. And it's been confirmed. The only difference is Doc named the planet after the way he wanted to name it, and y'all named the planet after the way y'all want to name it, and y'all take the white man's naming privilege over the black man's naming privilege. So when the white man says, oh, we just found a planet in the 19th galaxy that has 3 suns, just type in the word Rilo and type in planet with 3 suns, and they have 3 different sunrises and sunsets. Type it in and you'll see there is a planet that has 3 suns around it. Now, Dr. York then put that out in publications in the 60s into 70s, on the cusp. You feel what I'm saying? But he named it. He named it what he wanted to name it. Then you got Riskians, or Razaka, or what? Provide, provisions. So he's just simply saying that our ancestors give us provisions. But you spook it out. You say these brothers are spooky. They're not spooky. Dr. York did what Christopher Columbus do. Fuck it. I see what it is. This is what we gonna call it in our name, our language, and our culture. You got a problem with that. But the white man could come and give a name for America, and you can run with that and you ain't even angry. He can name the planets after alphanumerics, 81432, and you'll go with it because he named it that. But if a black man comes and says, oh, it exists out there, there's something over there, and right there, that which exists, I'm going to call it that for this specific purpose in relation to us. The Dogon tribe can yield to Sirius B or Botolo, as it is a medium between the 2 galaxies. But you got a problem with that. You ain't got it. But in fact, that's okay. It's okay for everybody that has died to be able to come up with the information and evolve and create a culture. But when a black man is alive and he says, well, I dare to come up with my own language. I dare to name things after our own language where there's a cultural paradigm that can be affixed to our subconscious. Because in your language, there's events and occurrences and circumstances that transpire that only a people that have an affinity to the information can identify with. And the second you get your language taken away from you, you get certain instances in time taken away from you simultaneously. Because if I was to say Ilamuta Jesset, that is an idea or a conception from a culture that cannot run concurrent with the English language. There's no English equivalent to an Ilamuta Jesset. None whatsoever. You feel what I'm saying? You can't find any equivalent to the term. So if I were to take you into the African archetype of conception, and I were to tell you about calling a woman dad, there's no appropriation for that. Calling a woman king is an African conception, because king means ruler or in primary position. The man that played the role of the queen. It sounds horrible because you're thinking sexuality. You're not understanding context or philology. Because when you study philology, you understand that in an African archetype of conception, if a person is put in position to lead primary, they are considered king. And the default leadership or the partner would be queen. So when we're trying to transmigrate this information or these words and these meanings into this culture, then we are at loss because we're approaching African circumstances from a Eurocentric disposition. So now you think Hatshepsut was a dyke, as the Hebrew brother said, not understanding several women were kings in Africa, not because they sexually were misappropriated. More rather, it is a terminology that once grafted out of our culture and introduced into this culture, misconceptions will be birthed. I don't make these things up. It's an absolute fact. But I have to play here like I'm slow and listen to people try to mock, condemn, and ridicule me when I know what I'm talking about, and I know you don't know what you're talking about, and you only think that you know what you're talking about. And that is the conflict that we're dealing with. So no, I don't be having fun when I go through this religious crap. It ain't never been fun. The only time it's been fun is when I wasn't sure of what I knew and I was practicing on people. That was fun because I was able to go home, my chest protruding like, yo, I just bodied son. But after a while, I'm well seasoned. And at any given point, if a person want to take me out, church, want to talk about church? The first churches wasn't erected in Antioch until 500 years after Christ died. Talk to me. You need chapters, you need verses. This is how I was designed. I was trained for that conversation. I haven't even gone in my bag completely. Trust me. I haven't even gone in my bag. I go to debates hoping that someone take me there. But I got to deal with the foolishness. You mad at Dr. York more than you mad at misinformation. So I got to go in there and I got to hear you throwing attacks at Doc, where I'm like, I'm going to stay focused for the purposes of education. Then I got to deal with my family saying, man, why you don't bang extra hard? Because it's a trap. Because then they'll say I wasn't banging on the information. You don't know the catch-22. You don't understand the nuances that I got to deal with. I got to have an ultimatum. Defend this man every damn debate from people who didn't have the gall or the audacity to even question the man when he was out roaming free. Now you want to use me as a medium as though you wasn't here when that man was alive. Secondly, that man don't even need me to defend him. He has a body of work that defends itself. All I have to do is say, that's incorrect, like I do every debate, and I move on. You know why? Because he has a body of work. It's still here. The books are still being published. People are still teaching the doctrine. You can still ask questions. And in fact, you should call me out like I ask everybody. Call me out to debate on Dr. York and the validity of his innocence. And I don't mind having the conversation, being perfectly honest, that no matter what I say, I will never know if he did anything. But damn it, I know I can compile more evidence towards his innocence than you can towards his guilty. I can guarantee you that. I can guarantee you that. That man can't have enough sex in one lifetime over 1,100 times in a lifetime to have hereditary angioedema, knowing that that ailment in itself creates a declination in your sex drive. At his given age, he's having more sex than any man in his 20s in America with a disease that puts his sex drive on decline. And then if I were to ask you, did he ever get locked up for sexual charges? No. That's why the feds came in and ran their case concurrent with the state, because the state was going to lose, because anybody knows anything about law, the feds don't deal with sexual cases. That is for the state. The state was going to lose. So the feds came in with the RICO charge to make it about commerce. I just don't cast pearls to swine, because I know when someone's antagonized me and they have no intention to really learn. They don't really want to know. They hate him. And why do they hate him? Just because. Same reason they hate me. Same reason. The white man is the devil every day of the week until he says something about Dr. York. Now he telling the truth. You feel what I'm saying? So I just chill. I be easy. Because I understand that he has hurt and broken a lot of hearts. Because that's what religion is for us. He has broken a lot of hearts with religion. And I've broken a lot of hearts with religion by default of the fact that I made subscriptions to what he teaches. So most of my detractors, damn near all of them, all the rumors, all the backbiting are always subsequently followed by a Quranic verse or a biblical verse or Quranic verse. Because people are still hurt and still wounded from the fact that even though they're reading their scripture from their God and they are kissing their God's ass, I am way more influential than them. Now, how did that happen? How did a nigga who don't believe in your God wind up with more influence than a nigga kissing God's ass to get in heaven? So what you got to do by default now is assign yourself as my death angel. You got to make it part of the prophecy of your God. Your whole designation now is to take down anybody that's telling the truth about religion. You feel what I'm saying? So I just chill. I don't even deal with the arguments no more. You know why? Because I'm well seasoned. I just sit here and I consider the fact that you think you know what you're talking about. But every time I ask a person, why don't you ask me about some of the doctrine that you think is wrong? I could go into the abjad. I could go into the knee, we, and the B. I could go to the N, W, and the B. 56 and 2. And I could break down with 50 and 6 and what 2 means. I could tell you about the shahud, which means the witness. Because we have to bear witness to the truth first before we experience it. I could go through the whole shit for you. Then I could take you to what 58 means. I can do it. Because those of you that say Nuwapic is an authenticated language, then how the fuck is Yiddish a language then? Never mind if it comes back from ancient times. Never mind if it's an amalgamation of the Nepadic language or Hebrew and Arabic. Never mind none of that. How is it that people could communicate and transmit their thoughts using words you don't know and you still telling us it's not a language? But you can ask me anything in English, bruh. Ask me to translate anything in English right now, bruh. I'll do it for you. I'll do it, sir. Ask me to say something. I'll do it for you. Because I'm fucking fluent. You can't tell me it's not a language. You can't. I made double albums in that shit 10 times. And those of you that know me know I made music in Nuwapic. Double albums. Those of you buy my DVDs hear me spitting it. But it's not a language because a black man gave it to you. You niggas is fucking sick. You hate yourself and you hate your kind. And it's so disgusting that what I do now, I just fall back. Because when you are a Hebrew and you got the opportunity to teach the world on a big stage with Brother Polight, you know what you do? You decline from the opportunity to show us how important your Bible is, to talk about this black man. Because truth be told, there ain't shit in there. Because if there was, you wouldn't decline or opt out from an opportunity to teach us about the Bible, to talk about it, man. Because verily, the information in the Bible must be way more glorious than that of a black man who's already incarcerated, separated from society, and can't do nothing to you or me. So why would you take the time out? Why would you defer everyone's attention to tear down this black man unless something he was saying was absolutely right? Because you could have took the time out and educated everybody in the Bible. You feel what I'm saying? And then I debate the Muslim, and he takes the time out over 17 minutes to talk about Dr. York. But guess what? With the glory of the Quran and Prophet Muhammad being the last of the seal of the prophets, and after all the la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, after all that shit, after all that shit, in the mistranslation, the word womb right in there. And we could go into Nigeria and we can see a lot. It's the womb deity. But never mind none of that information. Never mind it. And Prophet Muhammad is illiterate. But he was sent the fucking scripture to share it for the rest of the world. But the word ummi is twofold. And it means unlettered or unlearned in a scriptural language. It doesn't necessarily mean that you can't read. It just means you're not fluent or you can't assimilate data in that particular tongue. But you niggas, with the miseducation of your teachers, are propagating the idea that God that created you is so foolish that he will empower a man with a doctrine that requires that you read and who is illiterate. But this is fun? Talking to people about shit like, I gotta actually tell you the translation of the word for you to know that God wouldn't send a man who couldn't read a book? I gotta go deep into the language and tell you that the word is mistranslated? It doesn't mean illiterate? A nigga really gotta do that? That's not fun. Because you look like me. So I gotta question if I'm an idiot when someone that looks like me is an idiot. It is disrespectful for us to look alike and to hear some of us sound the way we sound. So yeah, y'all could think that I walked away. No, I ain't walk away. I still got that fucking fire. But I learned, I just be humble, man. Just be humble. I'm tired of fucking yelling at these people, man. Because every time they got an opportunity to do thousands of views. Imam Bashir, you know, we got a video that's out that's near 2 million views, you know. Sitting on your couch. You feel what I'm saying? But when these guys speak, they want to talk about Dr. Yoko and a great opportunity. Rather than talk about the Quran or the Bible. You had a huge opportunity to be that dude that brought people to the Quran, the surahs, pictures, the ayats, the signs. You had an opportunity to really put in pain. But you decide to talk about another black man. What kind of effeminate shit is that? You could have talked about the glory of your God. But instead, you rather talk about a mere mortal and you sweat right now.
You know, I agree with, you know, most
definitely. I'm rocking, my brother. I love you. Don't lighten up on the video.
You know, I agree with that. You know what I'm saying? I agree with, definitely agree with Brother Polight's position. You know what I'm saying? You know, with my father, you know, demolishing religion for. You feel what I'm saying? Okay. After Dr. York demolishing religion for over 30 years, brothers like me and Brother Polight, you know, Nuwapians, we seasoned. Dr. York seasoned us and groomed us to be able to dismantle any form of religion. But we actually show, we show mercy and we say, nah, we'll give you that respect on the only pretenses of the fact that we're the only race. Because a Caucasian, I won't show that much love to. I won't show no mercy to. I can go in your Quran, Hadith, Bashid. I can go in all of it. We speak, Dr. York taught us the language. We speak the languages of your God. And when you don't. You know what I'm saying? When we translate these different things. That's why I always say I don't debate, because to me, it's just an absolute waste of time. If I'm going to debate somebody, we're going to be debating standing on our land, which we did on Tamaray. You was there? We would debate on our land. We would say, if you're going to come to our place. You want to debate a Nuwapian today, then come to the bookstore. 717 Bushwick Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, 11221. Come to Brooklyn, anybody. But they've yet to walk in one. They've yet to walk in a bookstore. They've yet to walk in the tent of Kedar. We still waiting on that shit. They've yet to walk in the tent of Abraham. We still waiting on that shit. They've yet to walk in the Hall of Knowledge. We still waiting on that. They ain't walked through none of the schools of thought that we've walked through. They can't back what we back. But I'm going to take a quick question from this brother real quick.
Peace. I just want to say, in the school of Nuwapu, because I am also a Nuwapian, I'm known as Timu Kefer Nebs. When I'm with my brother Polight, the New Covenant brothers, they named me Tadut. This is mainly because there's been a lot of rumors about me in Canada. You know, I ain't going to go into specifics because we got to go. But there's just been a lot of rumors and talks about me. But the main thing that people are telling me, because I got a real good group of strong brothers dedicated, the majority of them are young brothers that really support me. Like myself, I'm in my early 20s. Basically, what I want to go on record to tell both you and Polight, the message that they want me to bring out to you guys is that if you guys have anything, they're in great support of both of you. And if you guys have anything that they can help towards the master teacher, that they can do or support you guys on anything. If there's anything that you guys have that you can share with us, that I'm just letting you know that they're using me as a medium to just deliver the message, to just let you know that that they support both of you. They look up to you, brothers, and whatever it is that you guys can share with us, we're willing to support both of you, because we know we've been through a lot, you know. We've been abused a lot. So, yeah.
Well, I need Polight to do me a favor before. I need Polight to do me a favor before he leaves anyway. What I need is I'm going to need him to go ahead and give the word out to the conscious community, since that everybody signed the petition to pardon Dr. York. So he can silence it, because he said when I get out, they don't want me to get out, because I'm going to tell the whole truth. Go ahead.
Let's get it. We got to free Dr. York, and damn it, if you feel he is guilty, right? He needs to be judged by a jury of his peers. He needs to be dealt with by the black nation. We need to have the deciding say on which one of our brothers and sisters go. And what you guys don't realize is this. When Dr. York got locked up, that wasn't an attack on just Dr. York. Dr. York went through so many different schools of thought. It was an attack on every school of thought. Y'all don't even realize that. They were waiting to see if the biggest raid ever conducted in the United States of America, May 8th, 2002, 60 years from Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad's illegitimate incarceration. They were looking to see if one of you nations would have responded to the aid of your brother. The Native American community in that school of thought, the Moorish community in that school of thought, the Masonic community in that school of thought, all of which were not at a point of contention at that particular time. The Egyptian Church of Christ, one of the banners or schools of thought that we came under, the Christians could have responded. You feel what I'm saying? Ansarullah, the Muslims could have responded. The Nubian Islamic Hebrews, they could have responded. Every single school of thought is a culmination of that one event that took place that day, and nobody responded because you jumped for joy that a man that disagreed with your information can be taken down, as they set certain precedents on how to detain and take down a black man illegitimately. You don't realize by us not revoking the action in real time, we put ourselves in a deeper hole. Any act of social injustice perpetrated against one of us is an act of social injustice perpetrated against all of us. But they know that Negroes are so emotional, they couldn't see the bigger picture. You didn't realize that they set the stage to railroad all of us individually. So here we are some years later, complaining about issues that would have never been made manifest had we responded the right way. But our emotions have us overwhelmed. And that's why we was taught in the school, the Masonic school, to what? Subdue our passions. We're taught to subdue our passions and divide the hours up in our day appropriately. I ain't gonna go all the way in. You understand? As we stand as a brotherhood under one starry canopy, we gonna chill to the full circumference of the planet Earth. I extend my love on my cable tow to you, all 24,896 square miles. However, some of us cannot extend, but so far. So maybe some of us can only extend at arm length our love and our brotherhood.
Hold up, man. I'm going to tell your ass up for like... I got to tell your ass up.
What's up?
Like I got Prince York too the other day. Hold on. Listen. Y'all can't be withholding the goddamn secrets, man. Our people need to get free, bro. We need freedom, man. And y'all motherfuckers sitting here holding the secrets? Come on, man. What's the secret, goddamn?
I'll give you one. Bushwick Avenue, our largest bookstore, is exactly 32 degrees from Tamaray. I'll give you that much. That's all I give you. I'll let you know that. But when you under the Supreme Lodge, you know what I'm saying, when you're dealing with Masonic doctrine, none of that truly, you know what I'm saying, none of that truly has anything to do with your liberation as a people. Only as freeing as the mind. And you have to make a first decision to liberate your mind, liberate your mentality before you start going into saying, okay, I'm ready to join the lodge. To join the Blue House is a big day for any Nuwaubian man. What you have to understand is that when it comes work, it comes a payment with that. There comes a finance with that. And what you would have to analyze is you have to add, then the question would be to Brother Polight, how much of his finance does he put towards his nation, which he has built his own nation. He's built the New Covenant organization, which it costs money to do. We have to acknowledge that it costs money to do. Now, in my era growing up, we had our own dollar bills with Dr. York's face on it. You know what I'm saying? They was bad, you know what I'm saying? That was the John. But, you know what I'm saying? You have to understand that these different things, people say Dr. York face on everything. These things taught us to have value for our own. You know what I'm saying? So Brother Polight, he putting in work. You know what I'm saying? Coming out here, flying out here costs money. It take work. Debates take work. You know how much we study? We don't just do that. We don't just wake up overnight and say, I'm killing you know what I'm saying? Some of these brothers say, I'm killing everybody. And they just wake up I've been teaching for 15 years. Brother Polight been probably teaching longer than me. You know what I'm saying? So we will put in, my wives don't get no attention. I'm downstairs in the basement studying all day. Don't nobody come down there, because at the end of the, of course. See, when it come to wives, you have to surround yourself with the principle of God so you can become one yourself. Anytime multitudes of women come together all throughout ancient history, they refer to them as witches and doing spells and evil, and they would even kill them, especially the Romans, because the Caucasian wanted to keep the black woman apart. But then when they do their stuff and they're Mormons and they're different shit like that, then that shit's okay. You follow what I'm saying? So you have to understand, when a man is trying to raise himself to the level of a god, he must surround himself with multitudes. You follow what I'm saying? This is why it made no sense when they was talking about Jesus had 13 disciples of males. That made no sense whatsoever. Seems to me I would rather have 13 disciples of females to bring me to the level of being a god. You follow what I'm saying? I'm just thinking, man. This was a, you know what I'm saying?
We actually caught him thinking, y'all.
This is a good build, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely is a good. I'm glad I got a chance, brother.
So when you see him, Polight, do you see the master teacher?
I'll be a liar.
Well, I got one question before Polight go. Brother Polight, get the camera with him, man. Get me and this man right here. What would be...
Hold on, let me move this. You don't want them angry. You don't want them angry. I do. That's why I be doing this shit to bother you niggas. Put this on Instagram.
Yo, my one question to you, and this is a question that I know many Nuwapians want me to ask. You know what I'm saying? What would be your reaction? I'm gonna formulate it in my own way. What would be your reaction to the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z. York, knowing his current situation? What would be your reaction to his release from prison?
Oh man, I would cry. I would jump for joy that black man came out. He's only the man that saved my life. And we always talk about the day that he comes home. That's one of our main conversations. We have a special notation we put at the end of our letters every time to solidify the reality, the visualization that we learn in the AEO, that he will come out. I have to see him coming out. The footprints in the sand. Those of you that's in the culture, y'all know what we're talking about. You feel what I'm saying? When the footprints disappear, but he's holding. Dude, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know what it is, but we have our thing that's personal that I always visualize him coming out. I mean, if a person saved your life and made you a better man, made you a family man, when you was about to lose it all, of course you would want to see him in person.
We broke him out, actually.
Definitely.
I don't want to go into my thoughts.
But Prince York, it was Duma who brought me to the Ansars. Yeah, that's my cousin. Yeah. That's my first cousin from my father's side. And he's right on 125th Street, across the street, set up near the Apollo down there, great. But I need y'all to talk to him, and I hope he's watching this. His health is diminishing, and he needs that guidance and that power from y'all brothers, and not to shun him. Because he's getting old, and he's one of those elders that tablik a lot of people into that temple, and still with y'all since Ansar to now.
You talking about the elder brother that sit out there?
That's my cousin, the one with the gray hair. So please, go and talk to him and get him back to walking again. Because all he just needs that health, strength, that knowledge of health on him. Because that's all he needs.
That's part of the reason why I had to step up. People like to say that Prince York was hidden and gone and not teaching. Now all of a sudden you want to come out. And part of the reason why I came out is because I said people have to see the progress. They got to see that we do have cold teachers out here that's just straight ice. You know what I'm saying? But I'm really glad about this interview, because now what we've done is we've shown that both the Nuwapian Nation and the New Covenant are brothers in nation or sisters in nation, for sure.
I'm going to say that because I know a lot of Nuwapians, they take my word. I talked to my brother over here, Prince York. He's going to be coming out to Canada in 3 weeks. Y'all haven't seen me around, but I know a lot of Nuwapians, once they hear my word, they're going to come around because they really trust my word. And I thank you all for that. So I personally will connect with my brother. He's already going down, but I personally will take the initiative to go out to the Nuwapians, because I'm going to be out there in Canada. I'm going to be spreading the word and marketing that he's going to be out there. I haven't done this in a long time. Y'all haven't seen me around the bookstore. I haven't come around in a while. So,
that's the man,
yeah.
That's the man.
Oh yeah, I'm coming out. I'm coming out already.
I'm gonna help out with the marketing. So I'm just giving you that, my word.
Definitely.
As a Zuma, this is my Zuma right here. I know the language, Anuki Natug Nuapik, so I got a little bit in me. So I personally gonna go out and market for my brother. I'm gonna be out there. I'm gonna bring my ladies, and I'm gonna bring my other brothers that are with me. And we gonna tell the whole family. And I'm gonna say this is gonna be one of the biggest Nuwapian gathering that we've had thus far. I'm gonna spread the word to the whole family. I'm going to turn things around. I'm not saying I'm going to do it alone. I'm going to have a lot of help. But I'm going to definitely put my effort in this one. I'm giving you my word.
Exactly, man. Because, whether people like it or not, I am the prince. You know what I'm saying? Whether you like it or not, Dr. York is already free, because 33 and 1/3 of him is in me. So as long as I am standing here, breathing, teaching, walking this earth, Dr. York is already free. And in the presence of a God, mortals will humble. In the presence of a God, mortals will always humble themselves. So, but you have to make the decision, are you a mortal or are you a God? And you have to make a decision once you become a God, will I be able to humble myself in the presence of the Most High? Who is the Most High? That's the question you have to ask yourself. I don't try to, when I teach, my style of teaching is not to make people Nuwapian. I try to make people think. but when you think is when you become Nuwapian.
Powerful bill, my brothers. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Peace and black.